here's what we're doing. I've done a segment like this in the past, and I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna do 5 tips, which I believe are 5 things that separate a good player from a great player. This is like high-level stuff, small optimizations that you need to be doing if you want to hit the peak in this game. I should also add, these things are not only for high-level players. I feel like everyone should be integrating them. So if you're playing whatever level you're playing at, I think these are good things to know, but they are definitely targeted more towards the top end of the spectrum. As always, if you like this kind of stuff, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Let's say if you guys subscribe, I will promise never to do a Raid Shadow Legends promotion on any future YouTube video. How does that sound? We got a deal? Sounds like a deal. Virtual handshake. All right. Number 1 on my list is I've listed it as DI counter optimizing. And what the hell does that mean? Let me explain. I'm sure every character in the game and every player has at least one setup that you use regularly for corner pressure, which is immune to DI, right? I think that's pretty much a universal thing. So for example, like an example for Aki would be something like this. So this is a meaty overhead right here. This is a standard Aki setup. This is a meaty overhead. You get a combo if this hits. But this is also DI safe. So if your opponent wakes up DI, you still have plenty of time to counter it. Now, you might know that much. You might have a good meaty option that's pretty much immune to DI. But what you need to be doing to take your anti-DI game to the next level is actually intentionally hitting into the DI and then cancelling a normal into DI to counter it. So rather than doing this, you want to try doing this instead. So when I do this setup with Aki, for example, not only do I have enough time to counter the DI, I also have enough time to slip in an extra stand medium punch and then cancel that into DI. And the difference that makes is that when I hit with this stand medium punch, that adds a bunch of gray damage to the punish. And that ends up boosting the DI counter pretty significantly because this is unscaled damage. The game doesn't really consider it to be part of the combo when it calculates how much this is going to do. And it can actually be quite a substantial boost. Let me give you guys an example of how much of a difference this can make. Example number 1 here. I'm going to just counter the DI normally. And then do this max damage combo. And unfortunately, this is not gonna kill. But if I now optimize this by sneaking in the extra stand medium punch during the DI, it adds just enough damage that this goes from being not a kill confirm to an actual 2-touch. So pretty much every character in the game can do some variant of this. So obviously that's very Aki specific, but just as like a basic universal example, let's say your character needs to do like a drive rush medium for Oki. So you do something like this. This is completely safe to DI. Almost every character can do something like this for plus frames on wake up. But rather than just instantly countering the DI as soon as you see it, like that, why not consider adding an extra button beforehand? Like that. You get a full stand fierce with Ryu here. And it adds a nice chunk of extra damage to the combo. But there we go. That's optimization number 1. I know it's scary, you see your opponent do a DI and you panic and you want to counter it as quickly as possible. It is scary to intentionally punch into a DI, but it is worth it if you can force yourself to do this. Okay, technique number 2. I've written down as perfect parry option select. Now, you might already know what this is. You might not. I'll explain it properly. But I also want to explain that a lot of people aren't using it in enough situations, and they're using it in a very limited way. So let me just explain what I mean by that. So, this is perfect parry OS. I'm using a fireball as an example. What I'm doing here is I'm attempting to perfect parry the fireball and then holding parry and double tapping forward. And what this does is if I fail the perfect parry, I just get a regular parry and that's fine. But if I get a perfect parry, you automatically run forward, and on some fireballs you can actually get a punish here. Like that. So effectively it covers you even if you miss time the perfect parry here. You'll either get a regular parry, or you'll do a drive rush, and then you can get a full punish. So this is a thing that I feel like quite a few people already know about. This is fairly well documented, but the thing is, it's got a lot more utility than just countering fireballs. There are a lot of situations where you want to be doing this option select that aren't just fireball counters in the mid-range. Let me show you a good example. So, JP. One of JP's best buttons in neutral. This thing, stand fierce. A lot of JP's players, as soon as you get into this kind of range, they will just start swinging stand fierce. Great hitbox, very little hurt box. Just an overall really good button. Now, this is also a really good case study for a situation where you should be using perfect parry option select, because if I go for the parry here, then I might just get a regular parry. But also, there's an extra layer here, because if they whiff, that happens. If you're outside the range of the stand fierce, then you'll get drive rush, and you can get a full punish here. So if you just do parry and then slightly delay a drive rush, it covers you for both options. Either you get a punish, like that, or you get the actual perfect parry, like that. So this is really good for characters who have long-ranged heavies that they like to swing in neutral. It just covers a lot of options. Even if you don't get the punish, like in that situation, you still get plus frames, so it's really useful. There's a lot more situations to use perfect parry option select than just on a fireball, is what I'm getting at here. Alright, number 3, perfect parry anti-air. Everyone hates talking about it, everyone hates getting hit by it, people complain about it. Let's talk about perfect parry anti-air. So, like it or hate it, people do use perfect parry as an anti-air. Sometimes they do it because they're lazy, and sometimes they do it because they have to and don't have a better choice. But one of the big mistakes I see people make when they go for a perfect parry anti-air is not knowing how to recognize the punish potential on it. Let me show you something that I see all the time, even at high level. How many times have you guys seen this happen? That. They get the perfect parry on the jump in, and they try and go for a back throw, and it whiffs. I see this all the time. It is a disturbingly common occurrence in this game. And I really think people need to learn to identify the height of the perfect parry. So you do get a nice freeze frame when you get a perfect parry, and you need to recognize when you see that freeze frame how high your opponent is, because if they're really high up like this, you're actually plus 10, and you can go for like a max damage punish here starting with a heavy. Like with Aki, I can do this. Significantly more damage than the throw. And likewise, let's do a late jump. So in this situation, where they do a super late jump, you need to identify it during the screen freeze here, and realize that you're only plus 5 here. So your best options are either to punish with throw, or punish counter jab. Like that. Or I guess if you're Jamie, and you're privileged, and you've got a 5-frame heavy, you can just press that as well. But what I recommend doing here is setting up a few different recordings with your opponent jumping at different heights. I would recommend doing sort of 3 different heights. Like this. And then identify the early jump, which gives you a heavy punish. The sort of mid jump, which gives you a medium punish. And the low jump, which might only give you a jab. You need to be able to recognize these in the situation. Like, for example, that's a medium punish. Okay, there we go. So that's the high hit. So I get stand heavy kick there. That's the medium hit. So I get stand medium punch there. Just do this drill a lot. Try and perfect parry the jump. And identify which version it is. Whether to start the punish with a light, a medium, or a heavy. That's the heavy. Yeah. It's a small optimization, but it is definitely useful. Okay, number 4. This is kind of a situational awareness one rather than actual like an execution thing. This is more like a decision-making bit of optimization, but it's something that I experience a lot as an Aki player because Aki has very good burnout pressure. So I'm very used to like bullying people in burnout and them making bad decisions on defense. So this is I'm gonna set something up here. And I'm going to ask chat to tell me the answer. Okay, let me set the stage here. You are a Ken player. I know, horrifying, right? You are a Ken player. Your opponent has 1 bar of drive gauge. You happen to land a hit into level 3. Like this. I'm going to save a state here. So my opponent is now burned out. They are the Luke player. Now, if you are the Luke player on defense here, with 0 bars of super, and no defensive options at your disposal, what is the best play here? As the Luke player, what is your option here? Bearing in mind, I should also add that drive rush crouch medium punch from Ken here is a guaranteed stun. Jump, panic, instant overhead, neutral jump, unplug, jump and pray, get hit. Wow, I haven't seen a single correct answer yet. Let yourself get hit to avoid the stun? Afraid not. I think this is why this is a good case study. Do you want to know what the correct answer here on defense is? Hold down back the entire time. Just block. Because if you get stunned while blocking, the punish combo here is significantly scaled by a DI stun. Ken can't actually kill you. Like, you guys probably thought this was a kill range for Ken. He can't kill you from here. If you block, I should say, he can't kill you from here if you block the DI. Like, I think that's the max damage from that situation. I'm not a Ken expert, but I'm pretty sure that's not the case. But if you had woke up mashing, for example, to try and get out of the stun, which a lot of people do, you know, a lot of people might try and jump, for example, to get out of the stun. You will get hit by that, and now this is a kill range. So I'm kind of glad that no one in chat actually got the answer like the entire time that I was asking. This is a combination of 2 things. So you need to be aware that blocking a DI reduces the damage of the stun combo, and you also need to have a good idea of your opponent's damage output. You need to, I think it's worth like familiarizing yourself with the rough damage ranges of every character in this game. You can do OD Jinrai to kill with Ken there though after the OD Dragon Lash. Wrong. Incorrect. Bzz, minus 10 points. Walk forward to build more meter. I wasn't intending this example to be a test of Ken optimizations, but I'm 99% sure with this setup that I labbed, it's not possible for Ken to kill from here. Heavy Jinrai light ender, EX Jinrai heavy ender, light Jinrai light ender, heavy DP. What was the combo? EX Jinrai twice? Oh look, once again I'm right, it still doesn't kill. So after all of that, After being yelled at for the last 5 minutes that my Ken combo was not optimal, I've once again proved that you can't kill from this starter. So yeah, the point being, in that situation, if you block the DI stun, which is the only safe option there, he can't actually kill you. However, if you get hit by the DI stun, he can kill you. So there are situations in this game where you need to accept that you are going to get stunned and it's better to block. Which I thought was going to be an easy point to make, but we've just spent the last 10 minutes doing Ken combos. Alright, final tip here, and I'm going to cheat a little bit here. Up until now, all of the advice I've given has been things that I think every character can use to some extent. This last one, I would say about half the cast can take full advantage of this, and the other half can only slightly take advantage of this. So this one is going to be slightly character specific, but let me just show you something that... Let me give you an example before I explain what this one is. Let's do this. Okay. This is Manon's level 2. And when I see people block Manon's level 2, and again, this applies to high-level players and pro players and professionals, world experts, I want to throw my controller at the screen when I see people do this. They're starting their punish like that. They're treating this like it's any other DP in the game, and they're just starting with like a heavy into a punish counter, and it drives me nuts. Because if you don't know, Manon's super and several supers that I'm going to go into in this game is minus 118 on block. And it's not the only one. We'll talk about that in a minute. You have time here as Ryu and any character who has some kind of install or charge or item. You have enough time here to double backdash, get your Denjin charge, and then start the punish. I wish people would take advantage of this more, and like any character, like I say, any character who has some kind of mechanic that lets them level up. Jamie can get a drink in here. Kimberly can put down a spray can to boost the damage of the combo. Aki can put down the pool. I'll go through a list in a minute. You know, you can do stuff like that. Yeah, Kimberly can put down the spray can. JP can put up a portal. Jury can get a store for a fireball. Ryu can get Denjin charge. Honda can charge his hands. Blanca can put down the Blanca-chan. You know, I'm sure that sets up some kind of ridiculous combo if you're a Blanca main. I don't know the optimal combo there, but I just hate seeing people not punishing certain supers that are insanely negative. And it's not just Manon's level 2. I want to make that point as well. Here are some other supers that are much more negative than you might first realize. Lily's level 2. Did you guys know that Lily's level 2, if you crouch block it, minus 66, which is enough for most characters to set up their stock mechanic. There you go. That's another super that you can do this to. Also, level 3 as well. Lily's level 3. Even after you neutral jump, by the way, just going, other things that I hate. If people bait out Lily's level 3, I never want to see them start the punish with neutral jump heavy kick unless that is actually optimal for you. Because this super, after you finish jumping, she is in recovery for another 64 frames. So like with Blanca, for example, you've got enough time to set up the Blanca Chan and still get a punish counter stand heavy kick. Like JP can put up his portals. All of those characters that have some kind of install or a level up system or a projectile that they can put up on the screen to maximize their combos. Lily level 2, Lily level 3, Manon level 2, Geef level 3 as well. If you bait Geef into level 3ing on wake up, similar to Lily, he's in recovery for 81 frames after you hit the floor. It's there's a surprising number of them. It's kind of a grappler curse, but there is one kind of unique exception here. Let's talk about another super that also has insane punish options, but people don't really take advantage of it, and that is Jamie. So this super is minus 60 on block, and that's if you block the whole thing. What you can actually do is get out halfway through and then leave him to keep spinning, in which case you get 72 frames of advantage here. And there's actually an option select you can do here. I want to talk about the Jamie one specifically because there's an interesting option select here. Jamie's super has 2 different versions, if you don't know. So before anyone hits me with the actually, so there you go. Jamie's super has a second version where he stops early and does a drink. And so people are going to be like, well, if you try and do this punish, he can just do the stop early version and you don't get your big punish. Actually, you do. You get it either way. If he does the version where he stops and drinks halfway through, it is still minus 93 on block. So regardless of whether or not he stops early and does the drink or carries on and does the full thing, you still get a absolutely ridiculous punish, like this, for example. So there you go. That is a how much damage is this? 7,320 damage. And also, by the way, not a critical art, regular level 3. Punish on Jamie's level 1. So, I really wish people would stop blocking certain supers in this game and then just punishing with like a heavy, because you have 200,000 years to prepare your punish on these things. Someone said, I saw someone in chat say Rashid's level 3 is also dummy unsafe. Okay, yeah. So here's another one. I didn't even know about this. I guess that even shows that there's more to this than I thought. You won't see it very often because Rashid's level 3 is very rarely used because his level 2 is so good. But on the off chance that you bait out a wake up level 3, this one is minus 75 on block. So again, for example, Aki can set up the puddle here and then start the punish. There you go, 7k. So yeah, so my advice here is hit the lab, really. When you block a wake up super, don't just assume that it's minus 10 or 20. Some of them are super insanely minus, and you've got a lot of time to prepare your punish. Anyway, without turning this into a full-on combo video, those are my 5 tips. If you found those useful, please hit that sub button before you go, and I will see you guys in the next video.